We are live, ma'am.
All right. So, good afternoon, everyone. I am Pratika Bajaj, the head of the Academics Committee for the Finance and Accounting Society of the Jindal School of Banking and Finance. This session on digital accountants, the way forward, is being conducted by the Finance and Accounting Society. As we all know that this is the era of digitization, adopting technologies like digital accounting is very important for extracting timely financial insights as well as staying ahead of the competition. The speaker for this session is Mr. Gaurav Kapoor. He is the head of policy at ACCF. His current role builds on over 16 years of his experience in knowledge-based intervention and public policy through thought leadership. At ACCA, he is involved in identifying areas from a policy perspective and share relevant thought leadership and professional insights to facilitate discussion, which helps to shape and lead the profession. We welcome you, Mr. Gaurav. Thank you for taking your time out to address this session. I now hand over the platform to you.
Thank you very much. I hope you can see me and hear me.
Yes, sir. You're visible
Okay,
and
so
you're audible.
Let me share my, can you enable my screen share because I can share my presentation then.
Yeah, Mr. Ajay, if you could enable Mr. Gaurav to share his screen. Yeah, sir, you can do it now.
Can I do it now? Okay, yeah. Okay, so let me know if you're able to see my screen and my presentation.
We can see it, sir.
Okay, great. So thank you all for joining in, and I hope all of you are keeping safe. These are very different times, should I say. Things have gone, not the way people had predicted a couple of years back. And one of the consequence, which all of you are aware, is the emergence of digital, and which has overtaken all the aspects. In fact, today the session we are having is over a Zoom platform. Ideally, we would have been there physically present and probably interacting with you, but things have gone digital. So now it's a very simple thought. If the way I'm interacting with you, the way you are listening to this presentation has gone digital, so the role which finance and accounting professionals are doing on a daily basis, don't you think that would have gone digital? So in fact, that the answer is yes. There is emergence of what we call a digital accountant, which takes into account a very important word, which is the digital part. And I think everybody needs to understand this because the world has changed. The world was changing, and the world has completely changed or evolved to a new meaning. And the role which you as young professionals who are listening today on the call will be doing when they join their jobs is going to be completely different from what it was. So let's understand the emergence of the digital accountant. What is the way forward? What does it mean to you? So just as a background, we do a lot of research. And in fact, this year was like 77th year of our research and thought leadership, which we are doing. So I've just picked up a couple of quotes from our research, which we did around 1.5 years back. And it's a very interesting line. That's why I picked it up. So look at this line. The need for the accountant to understand the digital impact on business is far higher today than it was 20 years back. And I will just replace the statement that, you just remove the 20 years back. Even if I put 1 year back or 2 years back, the need to understand the digital impact, how we are working in digital is far, far higher than it was a year and a half back. Same thing is for all the field of your work which you're doing. So that is the importance of the digital, and that is important of digital accounting. Now let's look at the role part. Everybody will be asking, what kind of future roles, how does technology affect me? How does the digital element of things come into play? So this is the very nice quote. Whatever role you carry out, and I mean to say whatever, it can be any role you carry out in finance function or otherwise, you can make a difference in the technological world as boundaries are falling. So the boundaries between that, this was a role of a finance account professional, this is not our role, this is IT's role, and everything, that is all falling. You have to embrace the transformation. And that is where the digital accountant or the digital accounting is coming into place. That is very critical for you. So I wanted you to pay attention to the two quotes which I've taken up from our research report, which was highlighted there. Now let's look at, when I started my presentation, I did talk about that the world has changed, right? And everybody knows, last 1.5, 2 years, the world is pre-COVID or post-COVID. That's what you would imagine, right? But nonetheless, let's look at how the world has transformed. So we live in a transformed world. Now, this transformed world which we look at has digital transformation at the heart. The word digital is the heart. No matter what you do, right from how you're interacting with your colleagues, how you're giving your examination, to how you're doing shopping, everything has gone digital. The way we do things and the entire objective with which we used to do things have undergone a change. Our purpose has changed. So digital has come into this place. Now, this is an external research, but it's a very important one which I wanted to show, was that 70%, and this is 2019 research. This is before COVID, 2019. In 2019, it's a research which says that 70% of organization, look at this figure, 70% either have a digital strategy in place or are working on one. Very important. And 60% of companies that have undergone the digital transformation have created new business models. It can be B2B, B2C. So people who were, let's say, I'll give an example, was earlier selling to customers through dealers, are saying that, let's create a new business model in which we have an online platform in which we are selling to customers. Right? Why is it that customer cannot order things and customize it online and get it delivered? So there are new business models which are emerging. And that is what is happening. So 70% organizations have a digital strategy, 60% have created new business model. And for those of you who understand ROI, return on investment, you're all professional finance professionals, you would realize ROI. So the companies that gross $1 billion a year earn an additional $700 million over 3 years from the investment. So not only are organizations doing it, not only are they creating new business model, but also it is ROI positive. So look at it. There is so much of business sense to do it. And this research is, what this slide is pre-COVID. Now, what did COVID do? COVID accelerated it. So, 70% organization which had a digital strategy, now it may be 90-95%. You cannot have an organization which does not have a digital strategy in place, because how do you survive? So they have to look at it. So I'm just saying majority of the company which even did not have a digital strategy now have a digital strategy. So this is how strong the world has changed. Now let's look at the forces of change. Very, very briefly, I'm going to take you through them. Velocity. What do you mean by velocity? The force at which a thing is coming, right? So now what is happening is, and take an example. I don't know how many of you have how old email IDs, but the speed at which the emails you get in a day. I mean, I get, if I go out for lunch, I come back from lunch, I see that I have 20 emails lying in my mailbox. The speed at which the information is coming through me, and from me, it has to go to another person. The speed has become so much. So you need digital solutions. What do? You need to have digital solutions. Volume. I get more than 100 mails a day. Now, how can I possibly look at what is required, what is not required? So you require a digital solution which tells me that, these are the important mails. This is what is supposed to be looked at. This is what analysis is in the mails. So things have to change and digital has to come in. Value. Now, everybody knows information is value. So people are saying that, tell me the volume of data which is coming in, what is valuable? How do I interpret those data? So you need digital solutions, the technological solutions to that. And then you need variety. Variety means you need it on your laptop, you need the same thing on your phone, you need the same thing on your iPad. And then veracity is to understand how authentic or there's a single source of truth, to understand where is it coming from, what is it coming from, is it correct or not. So for that also you need technology. So these are the forces which are changing, and these are the drivers, as we call, which is driving towards the digital part. Now let me explain you before we move on to the next part of the presentation, which is how does how is it important to you, and why am I saying this? And I'm actually saying this entire next decade is a decade of opportunity for youngsters like you, right? It's not for me. I mean, I'm old now in the system, but you are the youngsters who are going to like benefit of it. Now let's first understand the business model. What is a new operating model? So there is this transformed operating model at the core, which has digital customer experience on the sides. When I say digital customer experience, customers are taking care of your services, right from your product to services online. You're booking your services online, you're watching TV, or you're right from your OTT and other platforms is online, you're shopping online, you're ordering food online. So digital customer experience, is he having a good interface? Is he able to understand that, I like this, do I like Swiggy, do I like Zomato, do I like Myntra, which is a good interface, do I like Amazon? This is the digital customer experience which is coming in. Then is intelligent process automation. Now, what are people saying? People are saying that, there are 10 steps to do things. Do we need to do all these 10 things? Can we automate? And when we are automating, do we require all the 10? Let's eliminate 2 of those activities which are redundant or which are meaningless. So it's about intelligent process automation. The third important thing which is coming in from finance accountant profession, it's very important, is the advanced analytics, right? You need to understand what is happening, why is it happening, and how will it impact me, right? What is happening, why is it happening, and how will it impact me? So you need to ask this question. You need analytics to understand that, what, I think my sales are going down and probably my cost is going up and probably my profitability is going to get hit in the coming time. So you know what is happening, what is the impact, and how do you see it changing? The other one is business process outsourcing, BPO. I won't talk about it. You already are aware about it. The next one is lean process design. This is related to intelligent process automation. It is to say that why do we need 10 processes to do anything? Why can we not reduce things? And the last and the most important is skill and capability. This is where finance and accounting profession come in. That do you have the right skills and capabilities to survive in this entire changed ecosystem? Or are you out of this? Or are you a core part of this business operating model? Because if you do not have, and like old people like me do not have the right skills and capabilities, we become useless. But for young people like you who have the right digital skills, right professional qualification, a mix of professional qualification and digital skills are the ones who will be successful. That's why it's very much important. And that's where we come to the next part of my presentation, where you may ask me, Gaurav, that you told me that businesses are doing this, 70% organization are doing digital, world has changed because of COVID. These are the factors changing. You need skills and capabilities. So now what does it mean to me? How am I getting affected? As I say, what is it in for me? You may ask me, so what does this mean? It means you have to be future ready. You have to be a digital accountant. That's where the emergence of digital accountant means. Okay, now this is a very important slide. Okay. And when I say it's important, I mean, you could have slept in my earlier part of the presentation and you're free to sleep in the second part of my presentation, but just wake up or pay attention in this slide. That is what will tell you where the opportunity lies in, and why am I saying that the next decade is the decade of opportunity for you youngsters on this call. So let's look at it. So in our survey, we surveyed close to around 4,200 people, right? Professional accountants, and we asked them questions, right? 4,200. My handwriting is really bad, but excuse me. So we asked them, how relevant do you consider, not somebody else, do you yourself consider digital skills to be for accountancy and finance professional in your industry? So what are we asking them? That not that somebody else's thought, how relevant do you consider? So 85% of the people consider to be very much relevant, important. So very relevant. And this is pre-COVID. So if I was to take this survey now, probably 95 to 97% of the people, or even 100% of the people may say, digital skill is very relevant in our industry. Please note this point. Now let's look at the next figure, which will come in this slide. We ask the same set of people in the role, okay, in the role that you perform, not somebody else perform. Do you consider that you have the right level of digital skills? And 63% said yes. So that means 37%, around 40% of the people, which is every 2 in 5, does not have the right level of digital skills, and they're aware about it. Now look at it. If I had 100 people in my company, 40 people do not have the right digital skills, right? And wherein majority agree that you are required to have the skills. It is very much important. Nobody else, they consider it to be very important in your industry. It consider digital skills to be they consider to be very important. So, but 40% don't have it. So what has COVID done? So these 40% people, what do? They either they will reskill themselves, upskills themselves, have the digital skills, or they will get replaced by youngsters like you. That is why this slide is the most important, which tells you that, there is where the opportunity lies for you. 40% of the workforce is not currently have the right level of digital skills which is required. So look at it, right? A very important, digital is not just technology. Digital is not technology, is that it's a new technology. Being digital is people related issues, and it's about continuous reskilling. So now you may ask me a question that Gaurav, you did mention in this slide that 37% or 40% of the people do not have the right digital skill, and you say that youngsters on this call, and I'm assuming you're all youngsters, have the right digital skills. How do you say that it's digital skills, and what do you mean by being digital is a people problem? And I'll give you a very simple example, and I'll ask you a question only. So how many, and I assume of the people who are on the call, 90% or maybe 100% will have Facebook account, or would have at least WhatsApp, right? Now tell me, did any one of you take any class for how to operate in a Facebook environment? Or did any of you read any book to understand how to operate Facebook? The answer is no, probably not, or most likely not. And when it came to, and I'll give you my example. So when I was explaining to my parents what Facebook is, there were 10,000 questions I had to take them through, and I had to answer the queries. They were like questions like, what is this thumbs up? What is this? What is that? What is DP? What do you mean by DP? Do I need to update it? What is the status message? How does it work? Who reads it? There were 10,000 questions I had to answer. And the reason was their digital quotient probably, or digital skills, were probably not as high as mine. And mine is not as high as yours. You will pick up anything. You will pick up Instagram to TikTok to whatever, there are many, I don't even remember now which all are coming in. So you are very much adapted to the digital part, and digital comes naturally to you. So what is it that you should do as a student, as an advice of developing that digital quotient? So digital, as I said, is all part of the mind, all part of a mindset. It's all about in the mind. And I think you have the right digital skill set. Digital also means and entails collaborative working. And I think you youngsters depict the best. I think if I tell one thing to one person in the morning, by the evening, the entire class will know, and everybody will be like, this knows, that knows. And it's very collaborative. You have to network, highly network, as we say. And network is required for collaborative working. You need a business model which appreciates the digital quotient. There is going to be an ongoing change which will happen. So these are different examples, and most important, which I feel for youngsters like you, is a digital detox. So no matter what you do, sometimes your parents are correct to say that you have too much of your mobile, too much of this. So you need to have that digital detox where you say, I'm not going to look at the digital part of it, but that's very critically important. Now, I did mention this, and there is really, and I truly believe in this slide when I say there is a decade of opportunity for youngsters for you. There are significant drivers for change. Sustainability, as we know, is being redefined, right? We are reimagining the profession. So the profession is no longer the finance and accountancy profession is to report. It's about being a thought leader, looking ahead, giving the management that insights out there. And to what extent? So we asked in the survey to people that to what extent do you careers and profession change, right? And they said it's going to change really drastically fast. This is pre-COVID. Now this has already happened. How quickly do you expect the change in the career? That is already happening. We are rethinking how teams operate and work together. There is no longer that I'll come to office, you'll come to office. Can we rethink how we are operating, sitting from home, understanding how accounts are made, understanding how analysis is done? We are shifting to a higher value work. We're no longer involved just in reporting. It's about analyzing and coming across. And if you look at the 20 trends, this is another research. So these are the 20 trends. And you will ask me, I explained to you about the digital part where I'm talking about, that digital is coming, new business model is coming. Why is it that there is so much of gap, which is very relevant to you? Why is it a decade of opportunity for you? And digital is going to be emerging. What are the key trends, you may ask me, which are emerging? I won't take you to the 20 because then we would not have time for any discussion. So feel free to put in any questions. Digital learning, what are we doing right now? Point number 15 is we are learning digitally. We're no longer sitting in a classroom environment, brick and mortar. We are in a virtual environment and talking to each other and learning from each other. There is also the element of continuous learning. You cannot say that I have learned and I would not learn any longer. There is a continuous learning. You have to keep on learning new and newer things. The A word, automation. So automation frees a professional to focus on higher work. So people are saying, why am I doing this thing again and again? Why can we not automate things, right? I talked to you about lean automation and everything. So people are saying we need to automate. The next one is Generation Z, right? We all know you are the Generation Z. You are the Generation Z, which is defining and redefining things. So it's very, very important to make sure that you are aligned and you are focusing on things which are changing so dynamically. The meaning of work has changed, right? The meaning of work, how we used to work, it's now we are working from home. Things are changing drastically. There is rise of data. Data is the new oil. I cannot emphasize even more about how data, information, insights is important. So you can read all of this. I can share this with you. Then we talk about the 5 zones of future career opportunities. So this was the research which we did. And we said there are 5 zones of future. So the next question which you may have is that, Gaurav, I understand that digital is coming. Digital has already come in. I also understand that digital is the future. And I very well understand that I have the digital question. Now, what kind of jobs will I look at? What is the future digital accountant's role and jobs which is going to be there? So these are the 5 zones of future career opportunity. The first one is an assurance advocate. Now, who's an assurance advocate? He's basically a person who's looking at whether organization is in compliance with various regulations, framework, and he's making sure that we are doing the right things, and it's a very important job. So if he does not do his work, then the organization will be involved in litigation, regulatory demands, and whatnot. Very important role to play. So this is kind of a job which you can do. A business transformer is a person who is basically an architect of organizational change. So he would be like, understanding where all changes can we do. He will look at technology. He'll say, can we implement RPA? Can we make this change? That's the kind of a role he would be. He can also be an external consultant. So you may be a consultant, external advisory services of a firm. So you'll be advising your client that what can be done and what cannot be done. The third one is a data navigator. A data navigator is a person who's like an analyst, looks at forward-looking analysis. So he'll look at what has happened and then he'll come up with and tell the organization that this is what the future looks like. So in a way, you can imagine him to be the headlights for a car. He will see the future and tell you what the future looks like or what the future is going to be. A very important critical role for the top management to understand. The digital playmaker. So now, digital playmaker is a role who is a technology evangelist, who knows technology, loves technology, and is working very closely. So he's a person who would probably be very working closely with the IT department or data governance, technology adoption across the organization. Very important role, but will have a knowledge of finance and will work along to deliver that technology or digital element of it. The fifth one is a sustainability trailblazer, who's basically looking at how we are doing, how management accounting fits for multi-capital world, right? And he would look at external disclosures to stakeholders, what we're doing on sustainability, basically involved in building a sustainable future business. So these are the 5 areas which you can work with. What is mine? And this is the last slide I am, so I have told you about digital. I've told you how it's going to change. And I would love to have the question answers to see what more we can talk about it. So what is my advice for young students? What is the way forward? First, and this goes without whatever area you are in. First is be adaptable. The world is changing so fast, and it in last 1.5, 2 years, the world is changing so fast. So be adaptable. Don't say that I would not change. Be flexible in your thought process. And same thing, be flexible in your career. Don't say I want this job or I want to do this role. Be flexible. Look at different opportunities. Never get stuck on one thing. Be adaptable, number one. Second, get tech. I think that comes naturally to you, young generation. So get technology, understand technology. Technology is your best friend. That is what is a differentiating factor. Digital is a competency transcending across all roles and sectors. Very important line. It's not limited to one role. Get tech. Take risk. No risk, no return. Higher risk, high return. So you have to take risk. You have to understand, what can I do things differently? How do I understand and work differently from my colleague? I need to take risks. I need to take a new project. Take it. Move across organizations. You don't need to necessarily do one thing. Relearn. Very important for old people like me, but for you, it's about learning. Get a professional qualification. Be that smart. Have that in-depth knowledge. Point number 5, work your brand. Very important. In today's world, organizations, when they hire, they look at your social media profile. They look at your LinkedIn profile. They look at your Facebook profile. Understand the kind of person you are. So work your brand, have a digital presence. Make sure that you're tagging the right people, you're commenting the right people. People should know you for what you're doing. People should say, oh, this is a thought leader. He has attended so many webinars. He's talked so well. He understands these topics. Point number 6, reach out. Reach out to your teachers, reach out to your alumni, reach out to your bosses, reach out. Digital is working. Good relationship skills will be increasingly prized. You need to have good relationship. Point number 7, learn data. Understand data, how it affects, how can you contribute. Very important. So learn data and get tech, work together. These 2, point number 2 and 7. Find sponsors. It can be your ex-boss, it can be your alumni, it can be your teacher who can recommend you. There are different entry and exit to a profession. Find sponsors who can help you. You will require them. Rethink the CV. You may think, I want to add something different in my CV. You can have different roles. You can have different skill set, different competency. Don't make it one vanilla ice cream. Make it a sundae. And last but not the least, do what you love. So if you do what you love, it's the best thing. You will be able to succeed quite well. So these are the top 10 advice which I give to all the students I talk to, and ask yourself, where do you stand? The wind of change is blowing for all of you, and the wind is coming like this. So you can either sulk and say that I hate this windy and weather and I hate it, or you can just enjoy and embrace the change which is coming in. It's up to you how you see whether you want to be the girl in the yellow or the blue. So it all depends on you. Thank you very much. There is also a survey feedback for us to understand whether you liked it. How did you like the presentation? I'll probably try to paste it in the chat. I don't know whether I can paste it, but yeah. So please fill this form, and happy to answer any questions. Anyone feel free to ask me questions. I'm happy to take care.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
So do you believe estimations facilitated by big data will help make accounting information more reliable and verifiable for investors and stockholders?
So yeah, so big data is a good area. So big data, AI, machine learning. So these are emerging parts. So what people are doing, so yes, it really helps you in data analysis. and also to find where the variations lie. So what happens is earlier you may do a sample method of check in which you will try to take a sample. Let's say if it's a 50,000 data, you'll probably take 500 data points and probably analyze them and to find any variations. And basis that you'll come to the conclusion that 49,500 is okay. But how does big data and the entire machine learning helps us? It helps us understand the outliers and then look at the outliers to see if things have followed or not. This is a very interesting area of entire accounting, and that is being used now. The power of it has been understood and being used now very extensively, and you would see going ahead a major use of the same. People coming with the softwares and plugging into your system and probably understand where the issue lies in, considering, you know, if your normal, let's say your normal average debtor is this, and you find a couple of suppliers on their away, then you'll probably try to understand, and big data will help you. So rather than going through lakhs and lakhs and lakhs, or probably a millions of transactions, you would narrow it down to the couple of transactions which you need to concentrate on. So yes, definitely it's affecting and benefiting, should I say, in getting more transparency, getting the right insights, and be more thorough in your analysis. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. So I had one more question. So in our course material, we have been learning about the growing importance of sustainable accounting. So what is your opinion on sustainable accounting becoming an like a successful and integral part of the digital accounting era?
So, sustainability is a big issue out there. And you'll be amazed to know organizations are paying an attention to the same. And it goes, and it all, in any organization, if you look at sustainability or agenda, ESG agenda, or even you want to talk in your integrated reporting, it's top down, and if the top management, board of directors, the CEO are all inclined towards focusing on sustainability or ESG or whatever you may call it, then organizations work towards it. And thankfully and positively, there is a lot of commitment which is coming from the corporate sector when it comes to sustainability. There are obviously issues with regards to greenwashing, where people are claiming to do a lot on sustainability, but may not be doing exactly, or should I say, exaggerating on that part. So that is also has also come across if you read a couple of publications. But the importance of green digital, the sustainability part or the ESG part is tremendously increasing. Now, in the entire thing, digital plays a very critical role, because now people are also using, and in fact, we did a research recently around 2 to 3 months back on AI and ethics, which was relating to AI and ESG related issues, which talks about how people are using technology to understand whether people are doing those sustainability measures or not, and digital is one of the best ways to capture what is happening with sustainability. If I have to take into account what is my impact of my, let's say if I'm a bottling plant and I'm using groundwater, what is my impact on it? You may use some digital tools to understand what kind of impact are you having on groundwater, and then as a finance accounting professional, you will probably quantify the impact which you're having, whether you're creating or giving back that groundwater or not. So there are different ways and tools, but it's one of the most hot topics, one of the most fresh topics which is emerging, and finance and accounting professionals are playing a very major role into the same. Yeah, I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, yes, sir. Thank you so much.
I think we have another question. Ishi.
Ishi has a question. Yeah.
Good evening, sir. I have a small question. What do you think, what skill set requirements have changed the most since the transition of accountancy has moved on to a digital forum?
So skill set, it's about digital skill set. So there are two things. I asked, we did a session around 1.5 weeks back on a virtual career fair, which we were doing. And there were a couple of CEOs, CFOs, which were there. So we asked them, as you have just asked me, what skill set do you look for, and what is it? So we ask the CEOs, what skill set do you look for when you're hiring somebody new, or and they were from finance and accounting professions. They were CFOs out there, and they said, Gaurav, look, there is first and primary which is given is they need to be very, very thorough in their own domain knowledge, which is as a finance and accounting profession. So we are at the first hiring a professional accountant, so they need to be very thorough in their concepts. So that is number one given. So which we really want to have. The second element which comes is obviously of the digital skills. But when it comes to digital skills, we are not necessarily looking at coders, so people who know coding and everything. That is not what we are looking at, right? They know coding, that's a separate thing, right? But we are not looking for coders out there. What we are looking for people is people who understand what technology is, and secondly, understand what the impact of that technology is on the role. So let's say if you so they will not ask you to create a blockchain, but if you are joining a company and you are aware how blockchain, if you were to implement blockchain, was to affect their books of account or were to increase the authenticity, that is the knowledge they're looking at. Whether the person has the knowledge of the impact of technology on the role they're performing, rather than be the coder out there, because there will be an IT team which will help you do that part of building that software. But if you don't know your code better, if you don't know how the processes flow, what will you code? Because the IT guy will not know the finance function, how it operates, or what accounting entry is going to be done, how the IFRS treatment is going to be done, what is a repetitive task. He will not know P&L, balance sheets and everything. That is what is given, required. But once you have that, you need to also understand the technology element, how technology is transforming your role, what impact does it have, and can you translate it? Do you understand? Do you have that basic understanding or not? So this is what the skill set they are looking for. I hope I answered the question, because this is something everybody will ask. What do you look for when you're hiring a person?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
And this is not my answer. I was asking the CFOs. They gave me this answer. And I just passed it on to you.
So I have a follow-up question. So since you mentioned that you don't look for coders, but I have been, so recently I got really interested in Python. So I had been researching about, so I'm also doing ACCA. So I've been researching about like how accountants have advantage if they know coding. So I've been reading that if you have the coding knowledge, then you will obviously be preferred over someone who does not have it. So what are your views on that?
So let me share a link with you, since you are looking at Python only. So I've shared a link with you. So in fact, couple of months back, we at ACC had also come up machine learning with Python for finance professionals. So if you look at it, it's entire course. It's for free. You can do it for free. In case you want a certificate, you need to pay up for it. So we have that course, and that's done by us. So Narayanan Vaidyanathan, he's the head of Business Insight. He has developed along with John Sandel. It's a beautiful course. It will start with you right from introduction to taking you through how do you even how do you how does Python library interact with the live Excel spreadsheet to everything. So if you're interested, you can do that. Will that definitely guarantee you what it's something else? You can do it, but if you don't have the professional knowledge, nobody will going to hire you, because they do not consider you to be a coder, right? If they need a coder, they'll go to IT company and get a coder out there, right? They are first and foremost looking for professional qualification. If you have it, it's good. As I said, if you know coding, there's nothing wrong with it, but they're not hiring you for coding, or neither they will ask you to do coding out there. That's not what the CFOs are looking for. They have a different team, the IT team, which will do it. Coding, it's very good. But first thing they hired you is for finance professional. So it's like, I will hire, if there's a Formula 1 racing and, whatever. So there was Michael Schumacher during my time. So I will hire Michael Schumacher for driving the car, not to know how an engine operates. It's good enough if he knows it. I'm not going to put his skill set to make sure how he changes the car tire or the engine, because he's much more valuable as a driver out there driving the car. So same thing with the finance account. You have it, it's great. We need you as a finance guy first. I hired you in my division, not in the IT department division. That's what he's going to say. You hire it, you have it, it's good. So that's why, let's say this course, it's a very simple. I should not. No, it's not that simple. It will take a lot of time. It takes around, I think, 4 to 5 hours per week for 5 weeks. So 20 hours of time commitment. So if you do this, it's more than enough than what you need. I'm just telling you in some very simple form. So in case you're looking for that. But get your basic right. If you don't have your basic right, this will not help you.
All right, sir. Got it. Thank you so much.
Welcome. Any questions?
Do we have any more questions? If not, then I'll take this opportunity to ask one question that I have in my mind. So first of all, thank you so much, Gaurav. I heard the whole conversation and I think it's really, really valid because they say that every 10 years, the world changes and the pattern changes and you have to adapt the new things. And right now, the need of the hour is to adapt to the digitization. So I think that I agree whatever you said, but even if I consider myself, I am not really sure that I am very much equipped with that or not. So being a starter, that question is for students as well, on behalf of them as well, that being a starter who doesn't know much about this field, then where should we start from? So there are some courses or there are some basic things from where we can start and then move ahead towards this. So any tools or equipments related to that, can you please throw some light on that?
Okay. So that's an interesting part. So there's a concept known as half-life of skills. You can Google it also. So what half-life of skills says that, whatever skills you acquired, how long will their life, or, by when will the half-life will be over out there. So I'll give you an example. So around 40 years back, if you were working on a shop floor and you understood how to work on a machine, I think you were set for the next 20 odd years because the machine would not have changed and you would retire as a foreman or a senior foreman and probably get a watch at the end of the retirement, and that's about it. Or you're working in a printing press, there was nothing more to happen, or a railroad. Technology was done and dusted with. So your skills which you acquired on the shop floor or during your education would have carried you through your entire job life. So the half-life was 20 odd years. So now that half-life of skills, and you can Google it, it's now probably less than 5 years. So whatever you acquire as a skill set will become theoretically obsolete after 5 years. So and this may be increasing at even a faster pace. So as one of the trends which I showed you, it's about continuous learning. So you have to keep on learning, and you cannot say that I have learned and I have learned enough and I don't want to learn even more. And I think at ACCA we do recognize that. That's why we have these CPDs, continuous professional development, in which you have to attend these sessions, which will talk about new emerging aspects, new emerging technologies. So we'll talk about aspects right from artificial AI to machine learning to blockchain to RPA. So we had a recent technology forum where everybody came together and was talking about data visualization, data analytics. So we know what is coming in. So you have to continuously update your skills. There's a lot of content which is already there on ACCA website. I mean, somebody asked for Python, I just gave them Python. If you need something on, there are reports on blockchain, on artificial intelligence, on initial coin offering, to you name it, and we would have it, some content or the other. And that gives you a perspective of technology from a finance and accounting lens. That's what you're looking for, right? Even this course Python is actually from finance and accounting profession. It's not from the coder's perspective. So that's why it's important to understand that it's taking you with your base level of knowledge out there. So there's a lot of content already on ACC, and if in case you are doing you're pursuing ACC qualification, a lot of these elements will already be incorporated in I'm just trying to find that slide. Is incorporated in the in the curriculum itself. So I'll just share you my slide. Okay, I'm just trying to open one of my slides. Okay, hold on. Can I share the screen? Okay, I'm sharing the screen. Let me know if you can see my screen. Can you see my screen?
Not
No,
yet.
hold on.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's there now.
Okay, so these are the different, I'm just taking, since you asked this question, so I'm just taking you through the various and AC. So if you do an accounting in business, these are different papers: accounting, business management, accounting, applied knowledge, applied skills. So these are the various aspects you covers, right from your fintech and accountancy to big data to data protection, security. If you're doing an SBL paper, strategic business leader, or advanced performance management. So we cover topics and we understand because these are relevant, like right from cloud and mobile technology to IT systems to ICO to fintech. So they get covered in the curriculum itself. So I'm just saying there are plenty of things out there. So if in case you're doing ACCA, there's there. In case you're not doing and you want more content, everything is available on ACCA. These are all free, most of it. So please go out and check. And in case you need anything specific, reach out to us. We'll share that content with you in case you're not able to find it on our website. There is this Professional Insight app also there. ACCA, you can go and download that app that has all these reports which are there, and you can read them whenever you have time, on the go kind of ones also.
All right, thank you so much for this. I think this is going to be very useful for the students who are, thinking of starting something or learning new things, because obviously it's very important to adapt new things and keep on learning, because learning is the only key which can make you succeed. So I think, so for the students, please go to the ACCA website and look for the things where you are interested in and start the courses. So that's it from my side. If you have any questions, then please feel free to raise your hand. And all right, I think we are good here. Thank you so much, Gaurav, and thank you so much, Prabhanshu, for letting us know Gaurav and listen to him. So thank you so much for all of that.
Thank you very much. Thank you and have a nice day.
Thank you so
everyone.
much.
Thanks, Gaurav. Thanks, Hershey.